Shalom, it is New Year's Eve. We're just doing a chill New Year's Eve, probably just hanging out at home and watching the ball drop on TV. So what we decided we were gonna do today is talk about New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals. Because obviously, whenever it's a new year, everybody gets into the new year, new me, sets a bunch of resolutions. But statistics prove that everybody, almost every single person, gives up on their goal by February.
It's only like 8% of people who continue their resolutions throughout the year or something like that.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do today is actually break down what it takes to actually accomplish your New Year's resolutions.
Yes, but first, we are going to walk home. That way I can, think and not be concerned about the cold.
Over our lifetime, and Sarah and I's 9 years of marriage, we have set a lot of goals and met a lot of them, didn't make some of them. So we've written down a list of some of the things we think are big factors into actually accomplishing your goals. So maybe it'll help you over the next year get some of the things done that you want. And also, the true secret to the very best grilled cheese is to butter both sides of the bread. I think the biggest mistake in goal planning in general is writing down the big goal, but forgetting or failing to write down all the little goals that it takes to actually get there.
Yeah, having a general idea, a really big goal is great, but yeah, we fail to consider how we're going to actually achieve that goal. It's really great to have a goal of getting out of debt, but you also have to consider how you're going to get out of debt. It can't just be a thing that you want to do.
Yeah, I think the concept of breaking down your big goal into smaller goals is the number one takeaway for accomplishing something. If you were to stop the video right now, I think that is the most valuable piece of information you could have, is that instead of just writing down a massive goal, posting it somewhere, and thinking it's going to happen, actually break it down into tangible steps and action items that will actually get you to that goal. I think a good metaphor or something, I don't really know exactly what to call it, would be to think about how in bookstores there are entire sections dedicated to self-help and figuring things out, and people have dumped an entire lifetime of knowledge into a book, and you can go in there and you can read it, and yet so few of us have actually thought and grew rich. It's
yeah.
We read the entire book and we're like, wow, that was really good, that changed my life. But then you just go about living your life, and it maybe tweaked some thoughts.
Yeah, and you talk about it with some friends or something, and you have really great conversations. But then, I don't know, within a month you're settled back into your regular routine.
What would actually be more valuable than reading 15 books would be to read one chapter of one of those books and actually apply it to your life. And then once that has been applied to your life, read the next chapter and go from there. So this video is about how to reach your goals, not necessarily how to apply books to your life, but we're talking about that for you to take kind of that concept and apply it to your goal planning. How instead of, your main goal is an entire book, but take it one page, one chapter at a time, and go from there. So that's a good segue into kind of the second point about goal setting, and that is to actually set realistic goals for yourself. I mean, one example that I keep thinking about is if you have a goal to read books and you're like, I read one book this year, but this year I'm gonna read 75 books. It's that's not a realistic goal. You're going from 1 to 75. Set a goal up for yourself that you're going to read 10 books, because that's an actual manageable step process. That's not to say you couldn't reach a goal of reading hundreds of books. It's just the fact that set yourself up for success.
Yeah, John Acuff talks about this in his newest book, Finish. But he he says to cut your goal in half, because we all tend to, like, it's really good to dream big and to have like very exciting, huge dreams, but when they don't happen, you are just disappointed in yourself, and then you feel guilt and shame, and you put a lot of unnecessary blame and pressure on yourself. And so what he says to do, so for example, it's the beginning of the new year, you're very excited, and you decide you want to lose 30 pounds. He says instead of losing 30 pounds, cut it in half and say 15. And then if you can't cut your goal in half, to double the timeline. Depending on what your goal is, depending on what you can do, I think that that is huge in goal setting. Like if you can just, because we tend to dream very big in the beginning, and then it puts a lot of pressure on ourselves, and then we kind of buckle under the pressure. But if you just cut your goal in half, it's much more manageable.
Be ambitious with your goals, but then cut it in half.
Yes, yeah. Like a general rule of thumb is cut your goal in half or double the timeline.
Yeah. Don't be unrealistic with your goals.
Right.
And then cut it in half. Be ambitious.
Yes.
And then cut it in half, which is probably more real.
And then when you go past, like when you lose 20 pounds instead of 15, you're very pleased with yourself because you accomplished what you set out to accomplish, instead of being mad at yourself that you didn't lose the extra 10 pounds. Because 20 pounds is still like a really good accomplishment. Think
about at the end of the year how much better you're gonna feel whenever you crushed your goals and you lost 30 pounds, or you crushed your reading goal and you read 100 books instead of 50, whatever it is, which all goes back to point one about actually making tangible steps, because you can accomplish ambitious, like you don't think you can do it, goals if you break it down into bite-sized steps and you get there through one baby tiny step at a time.
So the third idea is kind of, well, I stole it from John Acuff, so it's in his newest book, Finish. He talks about how to figure out how you're motivated. He uses fear and reward motivation. The example that John Acuff used in his book for fear motivation is that, he's kind of terrified of public speaking, and so in order to, accomplish being better at public speaking, he practices a lot and a lot and a lot because he's terrified of doing a bad job. I don't think it's so much about getting rid of fear as figuring out how to leverage fear to your advantage. And then the other motivation is reward motivation. So this is how I am motivated. And basically what it is if you say you have a big speech that you need to make and you don't really care about doing a bad job or like the prep side of it, but you care more about like what's on the other end for you. So you set up like a reward for yourself that at the end of this speech, I get to go to the spa or whatever it is. So I think figuring that out, like how you are motivated and implementing that into accomplishing your goals is really helpful too.
To our last pointer for keeping your goals is that you need to figure out a way to keep your goals in front of you. If you write down your goals on a piece of paper, let's say, or in a notebook, and then you put it on your shelf, or you put that card, in a box somewhere.
Or on a note on your phone, but it just gets lost in the shuffle of life.
So the tip is that figure out a way for you that's different for everybody. You just have to figure out whatever works for you to keep these goals somewhere where you can see it literally every single day.
I mean, like this year I'm trying something new because I am very, very bad at this. I created a magazine, sort of, that is full of all of my goals on one page, and then just like the rest of the pages are like kind of inspirations for me, like quotes and photos and other things that inspire me, to hopefully keep this like out on my desk, and because it's pretty So that's what I'm trying this year. We'll see if it works.
If you want to see more details about Sarah's magazine that she created, she did a whole blog post over on her blog, sarahjensen.co. Link will be in the description about that. She just laid out the process of how she made it and shows you some example pages and things like that. If you are serious about setting goals this year, and I'm assuming if you've made it this far in the video that you have goals that you want to meet, we would highly recommend checking out Finish by John Acuff. The link for this book will be in the description. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope that this was of some value to you. I love dreams, I love dreamers, I love seeing people excited about stuff, and I like seeing whenever people fulfill their big ambitious and dreams. So hopefully this helps. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. We make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel, and Sarah makes videos specifically about books over on her channel every Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.